Shout out to G-Man Boxing.
Alright people, so ESPN were actually reporting today that, well, this was according to Andy Ruiz Sr., the father of heavyweight contender, former champion Andy Ruiz, that he has parted company with PBC and Al Heyman by mutual consent. That's very interesting. Now, I was only looking at the Andy Ruiz situation yesterday when I was doing my midweek report, talking about, him Wilder, him Hrgovic. And I was saying that the Hrgovic fight looked, for me, the more winnable out of the two, just from a stylistic point of view. And that you're saying maybe go for that. But apparently he pulled out of the negotiation. Well, there was never really negotiations to start with. It was a purse bid. Apparently he wasn't going to go through with that. So now Wilder is talking about being, a free agent, essentially. Still, obviously, advised by Al Heyman, but not officially fighting on PBC. But you would imagine that they probably would get first dibs. Who knows? And Ruiz now is apparently terminated his contract with them by mutual consent. Two things. One, PBC, what is going on there? Because it's a strange one. PBC, when they came around first, they seemed to just take everyone. They took a lot of Golden Boy fighters. They had a couple of Matchroom fighters. I think they got Lee Selby, James DeGale. Obviously, they were still promoted by Eddie Hearn, but they started fighting on a lot of the PBC shows. They were advised, obviously, by Al Heyman. And, they were putting on, it's crazy, really. When you look at PBC back then, 2014, 2015, it seemed like every other week there was a show. I mean, it literally just seemed like every other week you had a PBC show going wherever. Whereas now, I mean, Jesus, if you're a PBC fighter, you are lucky to get out twice a year. Very lucky. Very lucky. A lot of fighters are out once, if even once a year. Some are not even out that much. Jamal Charlo, how long? 18 months he's been out of the ring. It's crazy. It's crazy the way it's going on there in PBC. And you have to imagine that money is playing a big part in it. The PBC, it was never going to be sustainable what they were doing long term. Certainly at the start, buying up all these times on different networks, paying these fighters crazy money for easy fights. And I think, the PBC model, where they were paying these fighters very good, for me it made a lot of fighters lazy. Because you think of it like this, I think it was someone said Leo Santa Cruz could fight a Gary Russell Jr. and get 2 million, or he could fight 2 voluntaries against guys he was guaranteed to beat and get 1 million per voluntary. Why the hell would you fight? You just think of it like this, why the hell would I fight someone as dangerous as that for something I could make in 2 fights, against people I'm easily going to win? So they were paying these guys crazy money. And you see it, look at Turman. When Turman joined PBC, once a year, Russell Jr. once a year, Danny Garcia once a year. You see the pattern that's going on here now. It's crazy. So I don't know what's going on with PBC, but it ain't looking good. I'll put it like that. It ain't looking good. You have to imagine that they've been making nothing but losses on shows over the last couple of years, with the exception of maybe Spence and Pacquiao, maybe. Obviously, they didn't fight with those fighters in general. Maybe they're the only fighters who could have made a profit. So, really, where are they going or what's going on? With their 2 biggest named heavyweights leaving, it's not a good... Well, one leaving, probably, more than likely. I mean, we're hearing reports, but sounds pretty clear-cut. Wilder, we don't know fully, but let's just say they both go. I mean, that's a bad look. That's a good fight. That may still happen. But it looked more likely that someone like Eddie Hearn, who's talked about putting that fight on the zone, looks like he may be in the driver's seat to get that fight over the line. So, yeah, interesting times. What's going on with PBC? In terms of Andy Ruiz, if he's left the PBC, I mean, he's never been promoted by Eddie Hearn, but he's obviously fought on Matchroom with his own shows during the whole AJ situation. So did he like how he was treated? Would he go to Matchroom if he thought he could get the Wilder fight over the line? He's obviously worked with Bob Arum before. I mean, he turned pro. Originally, I believe, it was with Bob Arum. He was promoted by Bob Arum for a long time. Would he decide to go back to Top Rank? When Ruiz was with Top Rank, they didn't have many heavyweights. Back then, when Andy Ruiz was a Top Rank fighter, I think at one stage he might have been their only heavyweight fighter. I think Brian Jennings joined in 2018. I think by that stage, Ruiz was either on his way out or was getting ready to leave. They really had no heavyweights to speak of. That's different now, right? They have a lot more heavyweights, younger heavyweights, heavyweights who are on top, like Tyson Fury. So, and that's obviously the WBC route is the route he's looking to go down. So, you know, well, at the end of the day, like the final eliminator is with Wilder. Maybe he feels if he's with Bob Arum, it's just a simple, there you go, it's done if he wins. So we'll see. We'll see what way Andy Ruiz goes. But yeah, interesting to see what's going on with PBC right now. Very, very interesting. I don't really know. But it's not looking good. It ain't looking good for PBC. You know, the lack of shows, the inactivity of a lot of fighters, the big fights not getting made. If you think about it, like with Crawford Spence, I mean, look, let's just imagine hypothetically that Crawford was with Top Rank and Spence was with, let's just say, Golden Boy, hypothetically. Do you reckon it'd be as hard for that fight to be made as it is now with the whole PBC? And bear in mind, look at the way PBC have conducted business over the years. Has anyone forgotten that in 2019 they came out and categorically stated during the summer that they no longer recognise the WBO title as a legit title for Undisputed? And they did that right when Crawford was trying to, you know, call out Spence and was trying to get this fight over the line. They were actually saying they don't recognise the WBO title as a legit title, despite the fact that they had, I think it was, Ruiz definitely had the WBO title because he was just beating Joshua. Well, they were paying sanction fees to that. Why the hell didn't he vacate it? And I think they had a fighter, I think it might have been Castano, who was highly ranked by the WBO, and they went ahead and gave him that world title fight. So why the hell, if you don't recognise it, are you pushing for your fighter to get a world title shot? For me, that was just blatant. That was just blatant. They were trying to just go one way, keep it all in house with Spence, and get away from the Crawford fight. Not that Spence was afraid, but it was just so blatant. They were just like, keep it in house. WBO, don't do us any favours, so F them. Well, that changed pretty quick, didn't it? And now they recognise it. Madness. But yeah, interesting what's going on at PBC. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you as always to the Hit Company for sponsoring the video. For now, lads and lassies, I'll talk to you. Peace.